Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. This is where we sift through all the noise and get right to the good stuff. And wow, what a week. We're talking about some serious hype, some pretty big headaches, and that messy place where amazing, futuristic ideas crash right into reality.
You know, it's a question that feels more and more real every single day. We've got these mind-blowing gadgets you can literally order right now, some massive strategy changes from the big tech players that are going to impact you, for sure. And, well, a pretty stark reminder that even the grandest visions have to play by the rules of the real world. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, first up, the future is almost here. We're talking about sci-fi gadgets in the real world. I mean, we're seeing things like robot butlers and phones that fold in ways that honestly felt like movie props just a couple of years ago. And the wild part? You can actually pre-order this stuff.
Okay, so this is the dream, right? The ultimate sci-fi promise. A humanoid robot that just takes care of all the boring stuff around the house. Well, one company is betting you're ready to take that leap, and they're actually beating Tesla to the market with it.
So, say hello to Neo. It's from a robotics company called 1X, and it's being billed as the world's first consumer-ready humanoid robot. The CEO of 1X made this huge declaration, saying with Neo, humanoid robots become a product. That is a really bold claim, and it's a direct shot at things like Tesla's Optimus. But what can it actually do? That's the real question.
And this is where we see that classic gap between the hype and the reality. So on paper, Neo is a beast. It can lift over 150 pounds, carry 55. It sounds amazing. But in the real world, the Wall Street Journal saw a demo where it took 2 minutes to fold a single shirt. And it was kind of wobbly while trying to load a dishwasher. Throw in a 4-hour battery life and the fact that a human has to basically train it on new tasks using VR, and yeah, you start to see the hurdles. So, what's the price tag for being one of the first people on your block to have a robot butler? A cool $20,000. Yep, $20K. Or, you can lease one for about $500 a month. The big takeaway here is that we are in the very, very early innings of this whole robot revolution.
All right, so moving on from robots to another piece of seriously futuristic hardware. Let's talk about phones. I mean, for years, we had the basic slab, right? Then we got the fold. Now Samsung is basically asking, hey, what if we just add another fold?
So based on leaks and in animations, we're looking at a device that starts as a phone, normal size, then you unfold it once and boom, it's a big tablet. Then you unfold it again to create this massive screen that honestly might be a real replacement for a laptop. It is a wild concept, and it's really pushing the idea of what a phone even is. Okay, so let's shift gears. We're moving from futuristic hardware to some very present-day strategy moves. This section is all about how some big industry shifts are affecting you right now. We're talking about the games you play and, yeah, the bills you pay. This quote right here from Amazon's VP of Games, Steve Boom, it's a really big deal. They're basically saying they're going to halt a significant amount of their big AAA game development, especially around MMOs. So after pouring a ton of money into huge online games like New World, Amazon is stepping back. They're pivoting away from these super expensive, super time-consuming projects and focusing more on casual games for their Luna cloud service. It's a huge change in strategy.
And speaking of things that hit your wallet, let's talk about your internet bill. Remember these? Last April, these broadband nutrition labels started rolling out. The whole idea was super simple. Make internet providers be crystal clear about all their prices, speeds, and especially all those sneaky fees. Just like a nutrition label on food.
Well, guess what? The FCC just voted to propose rolling back some of the key parts of that rule. If you look at this chart, you can see what's on the chopping block. They're looking to get rid of the requirement to itemize all the fees. They also want to remove the rule that says the labels have to be in your account portal or that companies have to read you the key terms over the phone. A lot of critics are saying this is a huge step backwards for us, the consumers.
And that brings us to our final section, vision meets reality. This is all about that clash between ambition and what's actually possible. This is where all that hype really gets put to the test.
So, Elon Musk's AI company, xAI, has launched something called Grokpedia. It's a new online encyclopedia, and its mission is, and I'm quoting here, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The whole idea is to be a less biased version of Wikipedia, but, well, early reports are suggesting that its version of the truth might be a little selective.
And wow, this slide really shows you what we're talking about. The difference in framing is something else. Let's just look at the entry for George Floyd. Wikipedia starts with, George Floyd, a black man, was murdered by a white police officer. Pretty direct. Grokopedia, on the other hand, starts its entry by calling him an American man with a lengthy criminal record, and it doesn't even get to the fact that he was murdered until the 4th sentence. The emphasis is just completely different.
And look, this isn't just a one-off thing. Reports from places like The Verge have found a pattern. Entries that seem to downplay the scientific consensus on climate change, using terms like transgenderism, which, as Wikipedia itself notes, is often seen as a pejorative. And it doesn't stop there. There are claims that science shows some races are more intelligent, a downplaying of the violence on January 6th, and maybe not surprisingly, the entries for Elon Musk and his companies are reportedly glowing and super long.
Okay, let's stick with these grand visions for our last story. We're talking about the Tesla Cybercab. The original vision, the big pitch, was truly revolutionary. A taxi that was built from the ground up to be fully autonomous. No human controls at all.
And Elon Musk was absolutely insistent on this point. He flat out said, Cybercab is just not going to have steering wheels and pedals. The idea was that a true robotaxi shouldn't be compromised by having controls for humans. It should be pure.
But then, reality check. In a recent interview, Tesla's own board chair Robin Denholm said this: "If we have to have a steering wheel, it can have a steering wheel and pedals." That's a pretty big contradiction.
So what gives? Why the complete 180? Well, it comes down to one word: regulations. Right now in the US, the rules just aren't set up for mass-produced cars that have no steering wheel or pedals. So if Tesla wants to hit its very ambitious 2026 launch date, it looks like they might have to build the Cybercab with controls first and then, maybe take them out later. And all of this really brings us to the big question of the week, doesn't it? Whether it's a robot butler that struggles with laundry, an encyclopedia with a very specific point of view, or a futuristic robotaxi that might need a steering wheel after all, we're always living in this gap between the amazing future we're promised and the messy reality we have right now. So it makes you wonder, when innovation hits reality, who's supposed to bend? The vision or the rules? Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.